So this is the last series in the Eastern Conference right now. I'm kind of getting through these. Hopefully it's a good pace and everyone else enjoys this here. So the second seed in the Metropolitan Division, the New York Rangers, 52, 24 and 6, 110 points versus the number 3 seed in the Metropolitan Division, the Pittsburgh Penguins, 46, 25 and 11 for 103 points. Head coach Gerard, Gallant, head coach Mike Sullivan opposed on both sides. One, looking to make noise versus trying to find footing. The Penguins were 3-13 in their last postseason games. In the last 16 games, 3-13. A quick rebuild versus out the door. Malkin and Letang are said to be free agents this summer for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Vezina bound versus who's in net. So, stats on centerpieces here. New York Rangers have had an incredible season, and it starts with the former Chicago Blackhawk and now Ranger Artemi Panarin. 75 games played, 22 goals, 74 assists for 96 points and a plus 21. Mika Zibanejad, 81 games played, 29 goals, 52 assists, 81 points, and a plus 30. Kris Kreider, 81 games played, 52 goals, 25 assists, 77 points. All for the Rangers, all very good. Did you know Kris Kreider had 52 goals on the season? Because I think a lot of you might have realized that this guy is very underrated. 52 goals on the season is nothing to sneeze at. And again, when you have Artemi Panarin and some of these other guys in there, especially Zibanejad, getting you some setups, I can understand that. But Kris Kreider, again, excellent season for the New York Rangers. Now opposed on the other side, you know about Jake Guentzel, still getting things done. 76 games played, 40 goals, 44 assists, 84 points. For Sidney Crosby, again, battling COVID and some issues and all that, still played 69 games, played 31 goals, 53 assists, 84 points. Excellent season for the kid. Bryan Rust, 60 games played, 24 goals, 34 assists, 58 points. And Evgeni Malkin, injured shortened season, but still Evgeni Malkin really. 41 games played, 20 goals, 22 assists, 42 points. So, pretty simple. Names that you might not know so much unless you're a New York Rangers fan or follow a lot of that in hockey. I mean, you should know Panarin and Zibanejad. But Kris Kreider, I can understand if you didn't know he had 52 goals. Versus everybody on Pittsburgh, where the gallery is still there. The band is all there for Pittsburgh. So on the superstar defenseman stopper side of things, there is a lot of those in this series right now. Adam Fox, I thought he was in Norris contention pretty much all year. 78 games played, 11 goals, 63 assists, and 74 points. Kind of falling out a little bit as far as all of that, but 63 dimes, come on, man. Plus 18. Jacob Trouba, again, 81 games played, 11 goals, 28 assists, 39 points, plus 25. Jacob Trouba and pretty much any other team could be a number one, but because Adam Fox is so good, that's where he's at right now, second or third line defenseman. And Keandre Miller, again, one of the really nice pieces here on the back end for the New York Rangers. 82 games played, 7 goals, 13 assists, 20 points, and a plus 23. So everybody on the New York Rangers on the defensive side are able to get things done, as opposed to the superstar and the ageless Kris Letang, who's having his best season at 34. He's 78 games played, 68 points, and a plus 20. Bryan Dumoulin, 76 games played, plus 24. Mike Matheson, 74 games played, 11 goals, 21 assists, 31 points, a plus 12. So defense is good on both sides, and it really impresses me. And again, I talked about the Rangers a couple times, but on this back end of it, it really impresses me that the Pittsburgh Penguins are able to still play that way with Kris Letang able to lead the whole way at 34 years of age. And look, I know Nicholas Lidstrom did that in his 40s, but not everybody's going to be that guy. Kris Letang, he's still playing at that same type of level. He's playing as a numero uno on defense. And they really need that right now. And it kind of elevates the play, as we talked about through these previous capsules with some of the other players in the team. Bryan Dumoulin, plus 24. Mike Matheson, plus 12. That really matters as far as the back end of things. But let's go a little step further here. Depth. Let's start with the New York Rangers. Ryan Strohm, 74 games played, 21 goals, 33 assists, 54 points. Andrew Kopp, again brought over from the Winnipeg Jets, has a little bit of injury concerns as far as the concussions and things like that. Still a very good player, though. Can definitely be a second-line center. He's that good. 72 games played, 21 goals, 32 assists, 53 points. Barclay Goodrow, 79 games played, 33 points. Alexei Lafonia, remember the first pick in the draft a couple of years ago. 20 years of age because the lottery balls fell in the COVID-shortened season, which got all the Red Wings fans mad, including myself. But we'll take Lucas Raymond. It's worked out pretty well. 20 years of age for Lafreniere, 79 games played, 31 points. Frank Petrano, the rifle brought over from the Florida Panthers, has a hell of a shot. I had to throw him in there as a wild card. Versus Jeff Carter, 76 games played, 45 points for the Penguins. Danton Heinen, Kasperi Kapanen also hovering around 30 points. So here is the biggest acquiesce in this series right now. And again, a lot of these times, as I mentioned, it comes down to goaltending, but this is one of those ones where you really have to say it. Igor Shesterkin is your Vezina front runner, and if he doesn't win it right now, I'm going to be a little bit upset because he's got 53 games played, 36, 13, and 4, a 207 goals against, and a 935 save percentage. Let me repeat that again, a 935 save percentage. This 207 goals against, he was sub 1, sub 2 in a lot of the season right now, especially early. He was like below 0.98 for a long, long time because he was just absolutely unreal. Even being sub 2, you're absolutely unreal. So Shesterkin, I'm not going to say shaky because it's still a 935 save percentage. It's the best in the league. But he hasn't had the same type of just absolute unreal robot type goaltending toward the end of the season. And if that still puts you at a 207 and a 935, that shows you he's leagues above everyone else in the NHL. And he should be the absolute Vezina slam dunk. Shesterkin is the best goalie in the league. So here's the problem on the other side of things for the Rangers. Alexander Gergiev, 33 games played, a 15-10-2 save percentage, a 15-10-2 record, a 292 save percentage, 292 goals against, an 898 save percentage. So for Gergiev, the numbers look bad as far as the save percentage and the goals against, but he really hasn't had a chance because Shesterkin's been so good to be able to set foot in the pipes and get a sweat and be able to get his routine and everything else. All that stuff, all the cliches that you want to use, well, it happens here with Gergiev. He hasn't had the opportunity to be able to get his feet wet in between the pipes. So for the Rangers, it's going to probably sound like this. Gergiev's probably going to be one of those guys who says he wants the big contract. He feels like he can be a number one. He's going to be one of those guys that's going to be let go because the Rangers can't afford to be able to pay all those guys number one money. Shesterkin's by far and away the best goalie that we have in the league right now. So that's where the Rangers are. As opposed to Tristan Jarry for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Again, excellent season for Jarry, probably the best he's ever had. 58 games played, a 34-18-6 record with a 242 goals against and a 919 save percentage. And Casey DeSmith, 26 games played, 11-6-5, a 279 and a 914 save percentage. So here's the big time question here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I'm not just talking about the supreme matchup that Shesterkin is going to be for anybody else in the league. I mean, everybody should be shaking in their boots in that regard, but the Pittsburgh Penguins are very, very good for a reason. But the problem the Penguins are going to face in this series is whether or not Tristan Jarry is actually healthy, because they don't know if he's going to be able to start Game 1 or even Game 2 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's going to put a lot of pressure on Casey DeSmith. I'm not saying he's not capable, but there's nobody on earth right now that's going to be better than Igor Shesterkin, unless he has one of those series where Pittsburgh can come out there and surprise him, punch him right in the mouth, and Pittsburgh has the offense to do that kind of thing. But that's not going to happen. You already don't have the advantage, but the biggest problem for Pittsburgh is they don't even know about the health of Tristan Jarry. So who wins this series, and give reasons for both. Now this is where it gets a little bit interesting as far as the New York Rangers. Again, record-wise, 52-24-6 with 110 points. Everything has gone right for the New York Rangers. Gerard Gallant has solidified all that stuff, and New York really holds themselves. Again, I talk about Panarin and the point totals and Zibanejad and Kris Kreider with 52 goals. New York is still one of those teams, whether you believe me or not. I'm going to tell you this because this is the truth. One of those teams that holds their hat on defense more than any other team in the league. Probably even more so than the Carolina Hurricanes, even though they have more of a scoring punch than Carolina even has. But this is one of those teams that likes to shut things down. And they know that they can shut things down because Igor Shesterkin on the back end is absolutely excellent. Whether or not you want to throw in there Adam Fox in the Norris contention, again, 74 points in 78 games at plus 18. He's one of those more offensive type defensemen that can get things done. And I think Jacob Trouba can also be a lockdown. People would put him on a different side of the line as far as a second or third, but he could definitely be a first. He's only on the second because Adam Fox is so good, unless you want to pair those guys side by side. But New York is still one of those teams that likes to win games 1-0, 2-1. Can they score? Can they absolutely turn the series around? Yes, they absolutely can. But until I actually see that happen, this is one of those situations where the Rangers like to play a lot of defense. And for the Pittsburgh Penguins, for them to have a shot in the series, again, I think this gets to a lot more of a simplicity side of things. If Tristan Jarry's not available to be able to play in this series, I don't think they win the series at all. I don't care how much Crosby, Malkin, everybody else, Guentzel, whether some of the depth scoring that they have. Look, I still believe in Jeff Carter. A couple cups in there for the Los Angeles Kings. Good depth piece, Stanton, Heinen, Kasperi, Kapanen, all those guys are going to have to step up. It's just how it is. But if they don't have goaltending at all and they have to rely on Casey DeSmith, that they're going to be able to beat the Rangers in a 7-game series? No, I don't think so. If I want to give reasons as to why that they could win this series, Tristan Jarry's healthy. Sidney Crosby is continuing to play like him, and Evgeni Malkin has found the fountain of youth, and he's kind of succumbed to the injuries and turned into a god. That's what the Pittsburgh Penguins need right now. Within their last 16 postseason games, we've talked about it, they're 3-13. This is a time, again, where Malkin and Letang are free agents at the end of the summer. You need to bound together right now if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins and give it one last go in the locker room. Look, Sidney Crosby knows this better than anyone. You throw Malkin, they've all been in there at the same time. They know this better than anyone. This could be the last ride here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Undertaker move, the last ride. This could be all she wrote here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. If you bind together, you get some situations. Again, I know this is a little cliche, but you find a way to be able to just coexist in there with Mike Sullivan. You play as a team, you play as one, you overcome it there. The New York Rangers is one of those things where the bright lights could be the brightest. They haven't really been to this point a couple times. Now they're trying to finally make some noise. They made all these moves with Frank Bertrand. They've been in the playoffs before, but they haven't really gotten deep into it. Pittsburgh hasn't had kind of any momentum here in the postseason. Again, 3-13 in their last 16. This is the last hurrah. Give it everything you have right now for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and maybe they can find a way to break through. So, if everything falls apart for goaltending for the New York Rangers, again, I don't believe that they're going to have enough to be able to get that done, but I don't see that happening. Shesterkin is the very best in the league, and even with, like I said, the 207 goals against, he was at a point in the season where it was below 1, and most of the time it was below 2. It was just only toward the very end of it that it finally crept up to 207, and the 935 save percentage is still by far and away better than anyone. He was in the 950s. This guy was an absolute robot. So I don't see that falling apart. So I would imagine I'm still going to give the Pittsburgh Penguins a couple of games. I see the New York Rangers close this series out in 6 games. It's too much for the Pittsburgh Penguins to be able to overcome. If Tristan Jarry's not ready to go, you could throw any prediction you want there out the window. They can't win this series unless Tristan Jarry plays like Tristan Jarry's played all year. If he's not ready to go, that's going to be a big-time problem. Now, the one thing I will say with this, it's an absolute punishing series on both sides. The Rangers love to throw out the hits, and the Pittsburgh Penguins always do that. That's going to come down who can get through these mental mind games. I imagine there's going to be some of that in this series. It's going to be a good physical series. It's why I can't imagine any team is going to absolutely run away with it. There's going to be some body bags in there. It's going to come down to the mental sharpness and fortitude that really, really matters. And Pittsburgh's going to have to find it, because this might be one of those very last times that all of these guys are together. You never know what's going to happen. But I will take the New York Rangers in 6. That's going to close out the Eastern Conference playoff capsules, as this series will begin Tuesday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.